Hi, it is September 9th, 2022. The Queen of England has passed away, Elizabeth, who has been Queen for my entire life and most of my parents' lives. The royal family in England is just really, they're just figureheads at this point. They don't have any real political power. But she has been for a long time the kind of face of England, and we'll see what happens with Charles. I mean, he's old. I'm not expecting much. I almost thought he might abdicate just so they could transition straight to William, and because we would imagine that Charles's tenure will be brief, given his advanced age. So I don't know, man. I mean, what are you gonna do, man? It's come to my attention that a lot of people got issues with things I've said, with ways I act. Sorry to hear that. I'm not going to please everyone, and it's really going to just be up to you to get over it. You can go ahead and block yourself from me, isolate yourself from me. It's okay. Other people can show up and they can fill that void. There are people who I have had positive interactions with recently, even though there's also many people that I've gotten the feeling that they really don't like me. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, dude. Hopefully you can just ignore me and live your life. And, man, I'll just say, some people, they just, I guess maybe they just lack a self-awareness. It's just like, do you have any idea how you're coming across right now, bro? Tough. I don't like to use specifics in these videos. But a lot of people just been getting upset about things, and I don't really. And it's hard to say I don't care, because I want to live in a free world. I want to. We still got to get freedom. We still got to do all this, and I think today I'm actually going to go try to work on my second edition a bit. I'm going to go into work. I'm going to try to do some billable stuff at work, because I missed some time on Wednesday and we got a deadline coming up. But then I'm going to try to get some personal stuff done, and hopefully get my second edition moving along, because there's definitely some stuff I need to correct in that first edition, even though I did try really hard to word things right, and I put a lot of effort into it. There's still imperfections. There's still things I need to, and ultimately I think there's just some people who just aren't going to be happy, and that's what it is. And I think some people are going to read into certain things the way I said them, and maybe that's my mistake. I sometimes am cryptic, and I think when I am, sometimes people read into things and they're not necessarily reading in the right way. Yeah, it's curious, like, when push comes to shove, that most people really do choose cowardice. Most people really, they double down. They put more and more faith into people that are gonna fail them, and what can I do, man? I can't fucking help everyone. You know, there's so many people out there that are just, they're so desperate for money. They really have this really ugly desperation, and it's like, don't look at me, kid. Like, I ain't gonna help you because there's too many of you. I can't help you all. We need freedom. It's really that simple, and it has to start there. And if you're not advocating for freedom, if you're not a libertarian, if you don't understand these ideas, then you need to learn them. You need to watch my channel. You need to read my blog. You need to watch the other content on my channel. Or you need to abstain from discussing political matters because you don't understand them. You don't understand economics, and you don't understand how the things you're advocating for are hurting, a lot of the time, the very people that you're trying to help. It really needs to end, man. It's just, you know, thank God for Twitter. Thank God we got a place we can go and we can call out the bullshit when we see it. And by doing that, over time, more and more people become aware of the bullshit, because it's like you can't just run away forever from these ideas that just completely contradict you. I mean, you know, there's a lot of people out here. We're not advocating violence. We're not threatening anyone. We're just talking about economics. We're talking about how to create a free, a prosperous, and peaceful society. And it's just, it's a message that's gonna stay there, and people can distract themselves for as long as they want to distract themselves. They can rile themselves up. They can try to get angry, but ultimately their anger is not grounded in any true injustice. It's, their anger is at something that results from the very things that they advocate for. So they really should only be angry at themselves. And I guess I feel like I say a lot of the same things over and over on here. There's only so much to it, man. I mean, at some point, all we can really do is try to take care of ourselves, because we don't have the capacity. No one earns enough money to feed the world. And I sure as hell don't. So, you know, there's exciting things that are happening in this world. I heard about something cool that's been happening in LA. I just, unfortunately, there's a lot I can't talk about for various reasons, and I try to help people, you know. I do. There's some people I like. I do try to help them out, but there's only so much I can do, and I don't know. Funny, right? This is me. I gotta appease my conscience, man. That's my primary deal, right? Is I gotta be true to my own conscience. I gotta act in ways that I know are good, even if no one else understands how or why those ways are good. Even if other people are upset. Even if people have problems with the way I'm doing things, you know? Forgiveness has to be a thing, dude. You're not gonna fucking be my friend if you don't have any forgiveness, because I'm not perfect. And you will find something that you don't like that I've said, that I've done. And maybe your gripe, maybe it'll be legitimate. Maybe I did speak in anger. Maybe I was speaking from a place of hurt. Maybe I was doing all these things. You know, I am human. I am flawed, and I am imperfect. And if you're expecting perfection, you will be disappointed. In fact, if there's anything in this world that you're expecting from me, you're very, 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 very likely to be disappointed, because I'm not here to meet your expectations to please you. I'm here to do good, which isn't going to be aligned with meeting your expectations in all likelihood. And you can hate me. You can believe in the core of your fucking body that I'm evil, that I'm selfish, that I'm whatever you want to paint me as. It won't change the fact that my actions are just and are good, and are kind. That's all that is, man. And at some point, I probably gotta be okay with the fact that not everyone's gonna like everything in my book, that not everyone, that I can't please everyone, that people, someone I was talking to the other day, he was upset by something I said in the acknowledgments in the book. Didn't think I'd get much pushback there, but it just goes to show I don't know how the way I word things can have an impact on others. And he seems like a friendly guy. He seems like a smart guy. And I appreciate the feedback. I'll take another look at what he was saying when I revise my book. And yeah, I'd much rather people talk about it, let me know when they got an issue, than just be silent, because then I'll never know. I can't even correct it. I can't even acknowledge it if it is a mistake I've made. It's just being an adult, really. I think that's what really needs to happen, is people just need to grow up. They need to learn how to communicate. They need to learn that not everyone's perfect. Not everyone's going to please you all the fucking time. But people are human beings. They are worthy of basic dignity. They are worthy of being heard. They are worthy of kindness, man. And until people realize these things, as long as they remain in anger and hatred, it's just gonna come back to them. And there's a lot of angry, hateful people from different viewpoints, and I don't know, man. I try not to arouse excessive anger, although there are times that I say things that may do so, and I willingly accept those risks, because when I do so, I feel like I am accomplishing something that I see as a greater good. What else, man? Yeah, it's communicating. It's holding space, man. It's exactly what I talked about in 2017. I had this big revelation. It was funny, this chick, she at that time thought that was cool. She at that time thought that was something good. Human discourse, honest and open communication. How that's changed, She's completely cut off communication for years. She's acted like I don't even exist, that my experience, my feelings don't exist, my physical body even doesn't exist. My perspective doesn't exist, isn't worthy of being considered. Why? Because I questioned her values, because I questioned the idea of blind loyalty, such as those loyal to Hitler had. It's just a thing, man. I think if people act shit, if people are hurting you, if people are not treating you right, it's ridiculous to be loyal, and it's ridiculous to think that their behavior will ever fucking change if you are. And that's just how I feel about it. It seems to me like a reasonable perspective, that one that's grounded in reason, that's not based on emotion, not based on hatred. And yet, it's one that through voicing earned me a dehumanization, you're no longer a person to me, you're no longer worthy of human contact, you're no longer worthy of my acknowledgement or my friendship or anything, simply because you question this value that I refuse to question. You question this loyalty that I refuse to question because I've been indoctrinated, because to question it would arouse the disapproval of others, whose disapproval I cannot stand. And maybe there were violent threats involved that I don't know about. That certainly is a possibility, but from where I sit, it seems like that was the case, that it was just my ideas cannot be questioned. It's this whole science approach that they have these days. We listen to the scientists and we don't question what they say. We listen to the media, we do not question what they say. It's a very scary, very dangerous mentality, and it seems like it's taken over a huge amount of this world, man. And I continue to question when things are fucked up. And sometimes people make claims, and I don't immediately question them because that's not the time. You know, I'm very intuitive. I'm very in tune with the emotions of the people around me, and I pay attention and I wait for the right time. So, with all that, I've been melancholy the past couple days, and I wonder, you know, I was melancholy even before the Queen passed, but maybe I was picking up on that, just subconsciously, having lived there until I was 10. And, you know, the monarchy meant a lot to my grandfather. He would walk me around, and he was a walking history book. We'd be walking around the University of Cambridge. He'd be pointing to this piece of architecture. He'd be giving me a history lesson, you know. King James commissioned this in, 16 whatever, blah, blah. He'd just be going through it. I mean, I don't know if I wasn't a real good student, but, yeah, he really knew it. And, there is a lot of history, a lot of heritage, a lot of tradition, in England. And she has been this kind of steady presence that's existed really, I mean, since really soon after the end of the war. And, Winston Churchill was still prime minister when she became queen. And there is something, it feels like a big thing. It feels like a big thing, even though she doesn't have this power politically. There is a sort of majesty, right? Like there's it's the culture, it's the entire history, man. And Charles is not a popular guy. He's not a unifying kind of figure. And she in many ways was. Even though I know, like, a lot of, like, people say, oh, the royal family is all this dark shit and all this, and I don't know. I don't really care. It's like, to me, it seemed like she mostly just stayed out of the way, made pretty bland, non-partisan, non-political type speeches, kind of oversaw the end of the kind of decolonization. I mean, you know, the political climate in England is fucked up. And the things they're doing politically with the government are real fucked up. And at some point, England probably will need some kind of fucking savior, man, because the government's going to collapse, the currency's going to collapse. They're on an island. It's a heavy, densely populated area. They're going to be in a real desperate situation, and you're going to need some kind of leadership. You're going to need someone to help show the path to freedom. And you know, I live in America, so I don't know if I'd be eligible to be king if they wanted to do that. Now, if they wanted to, I would accept the position. I would accept the position because I believe I could do a lot with that place of influence, because even though there's no direct political power associated with the position, there is an opportunity to meet with heads of state, to meet with the high levels of government, and to have an influence in that way. And I think that if England was to become free, you know, England has the greatest advantage they have is the fact that they're an island. And so they have this natural defense. The British Army needs to come back to Britain, and it needs to defend that coast, because when the pound collapses, when the euro collapses, when the central banking cartel collapses, a lot of angry people are going to be coming for you. And I don't know what's going to happen in Europe, but that ain't your fucking problem. Your problem is keeping that island secure and facilitating the regrowth of an economy. So you're going to need to protect those borders, and you're going to need economic freedom to the maximum extent possible, you know. When I lived in England, there were still a lot of farms around the countryside. I don't know if that's still the case, what the government's done to break this system down, but the farmland you have, the land you have, should be put to productive use, because this will create jobs, and you're going to need jobs. You're going to need economic freedom so factories can be built, so productive facilities can be built, you know. England has really been the wealthiest nation for centuries. I mean, it's been amongst the wealthiest nations on a per capita basis. And so a lot of England has gotten away from the basics of production. Most of their economy is advanced economy, right? And a lot of that's going away. You know, the whole banking sector, the finance sector, all that's going away. You're going to need to go back to basic production. And, you know, London is, it's been built over itself. There's layers and layers over centuries and centuries of history. And it's just a new layer needs to be built, man. And, there needs to be economic freedom for that to happen. I don't know how much gold is in the royal treasury or whatever they got, but whatever gold they got needs to be protected, and if possible, an amount will need to be dispersed amongst the population to help prevent people from starving to death in the interim after the collapse. But it's a similar thing as America, but of course the government's different there, and each nation has its own challenges with regard to fixing its government. Ultimately, hopefully, gaining complete economic freedom, and whatever, man. I guess that's all I'll say about England, man. God bless the people I know who live there and everyone else who lives there. Wish you guys the best. And with that, everyone have a great day.